you guys. Welcome to Coming In Hot with Caroline. You guys, I'm Caroline Baudino. I am so happy to have you here. I want you to know that this is a place where you come to hopefully to feel your absolute best. I feel so lucky to be here. I am somebody who genuinely believes that when you look good, you actually feel good, and then you go do good. This is like words I live by. This is a motto I have literally built the last 7 years on. And I really wanted to share it with you. I wanted to share it and spread this word as loud and as far as I possibly can, because my passion, my goal is literally to lift all of you women up, and I want you looking and feeling your absolute best. If you're hearing jingling, you know it's my jewelry. I am called Mrs. T for a reason. I absolutely love it, and it's not coming off, okay? So anyway, I am 52 years old, born and raised in New York City to Cuban parents. Where are my Latinas at? Sí, hablo español. So you can only imagine my fiery Cuban blood, okay? It is not easy to grow up in the streets of New York. You definitely learn how to be tough. You definitely learn how to be strong. And when you have immigrant parents, you definitely learn how to have thick skin. And I know growing up for me, it was an interesting dynamic. Growing up, I did feel different. You know, I had Latino Cuban parents. I went to an all-girl Catholic school. So yes, I have that upbringing too. So you can imagine how strict, crazy, loud my household was. Unfortunately for us, my dad got very lucky and was very successful. And we were very lucky for that. But it did not mean that we were happy at home. And that's the truth. My dad was a powerhouse. He worked his ass off. He was living his dream. He loved show business and he loved it all. And my mom did not. And my dad, unfortunately, loved the ladies also. So there was a lot of dynamics going on while I was growing up of seeing a lot of unhappiness. I don't know if you guys grew up this way. I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but I know my childhood looked perfect from the outside. And a lot of people did not know what was going on behind closed doors. And there was a lot of fighting, there was a lot of yelling, and there was a lot of unhappiness. Even though we had the cars, we had the money, my dad was on the cover of Forbes and all the bullshit. But guess what? My mom was crying and screaming, and they were fighting almost every single day, where I lived with a lot of stress. I have clear memories of me like sitting in my closet, rocking myself to, just rocking myself from the stress and the nerves of listening to them fighting. So I just remember like this unhappiness, and it never ever left me, you guys. It's like I remember growing up and just thinking like, I never want this. I would never want this for my kids. I would never want to grow up in a house that like everyone just seems unhappy, right? So comes to, I end up leaving. I leave New York. I go to college. I go to GW. I live my best life. And I realized I was very happy being out of the house. And I thought I want to be this super independent. I was like, I'm never going to be like my mom. I was like, I'm never going to, follow a man. I'm going to make my own money. I want to, I want to be able to buy my own things. I don't want to ever have to kiss some guy's ass or have to marry somebody and then be indebted to them. Or like my mom would not really say her opinion, or she wouldn't, like, she'd be so mad, but then she'd have to give in. And I remember how much power she would lose in that. Like, I remember seeing my dad being like, at the end of the day, she'll argue for a couple of days, but then she'd be over it. And so it was like one of these things where I remember just seeing this dynamic of power and how money was power and how it controlled you. And I remember being like, I never want to live like that. Like, I know I want to be independent. I want to be able to take care of myself. I don't want to owe my life or my shit to anybody. So cut to this New Yorker, okay, Miss Tough Bitch that like walked around thinking she was hot shit, had all my jewels on, my makeup on, wanted to be an actress, wanted to travel the world, wanted to live my best life. I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to have kids. And boom. Literally, I meet my husband, right? I meet John. He is somebody who's just, and listen, we will go back and talk about the ex-fiance. We will go back and get into some nitty gritties because let me tell you something. This New Yorker has seen a lot, okay? I've experienced a lot. I've seen a lot. I'm 52, okay? So that's the only people you take advice of. Anyone over 50, because we've seen and done it all. Anyway, you guys, it was one of those things that as, I met John, I remember thinking, okay, I'm still going to be independent. Like, I remember thinking, I've worked, I made money. Like, I'm tough. Like, I get dressed every day. I look fabulous. I have my girlfriends. And I think a lot of my gorgeous young women, I think, understand that. I have a gorgeous assistant right now who's 27, who's living her best life. And it reminds me of me thinking, like, I don't need a man. No one's taking care of me. You know what I mean? Like, no one's going to tell me what to do. Next thing I know, guys, even the toughest fall prey, right? Even the toughest of us, the strongest of us, fall prey to motherhood, to marriage, to exhaustion, to stress, to responsibility, and nobody warns you. Not a single fucking person warns you about marriage and about children and about aging, really. Like, you mentioned the word menopause, everyone's like, what? What are you talking about? Who's that? You know what I mean? Like, nobody, it's not sexy to talk about it. And coming to an age now, you guys, being able to circle back to now where I'm 52 years old, I personally never feel like I've never looked, felt, or been doing better. It just goes to show you that happiness does have something to do with it. And the reason really I started all of this, and for all of you who don't know me from Shop with Caroline, I have a serious passion on making sure that women realize that they're important too, that I understand your family's important. I understand your kids are important. I understand your parents, even your elderly parents are important. But I never, ever, ever want you to forget how important you are too. And I think women and mothers, for whatever reason, we are always rushing to the end. I feel like we're told in high school is get married. All my mom told me in college was go to the library, go to the medical library, go to the law library. Like, you need to marry a lawyer or doctor. I was like, wait, but I could be the lawyer or the doctor. She's like, no, you're too pretty. She's like, you need to sit down, be quiet, look good, and marry rich. Like, that's literally what I was told. So I'm like, you're telling me to be independent, but then depend on a man. I'm like, none of this makes sense to me. And trust me, I almost fell prey. That is for another day. I almost got married. I did call off a wedding to my parents' dream. And let me tell you something, that might have been the scariest thing I ever did, was walk away from what everyone expected of me. And it was hard, it was brutal, and it's the best decision I ever fucking made. Because at the end of the day, I realized I didn't need a man, I didn't need my parents, I didn't need anyone, I needed me. And when you realize at a very young age, my mom was famous for saying, your knight in shining armor isn't coming. And God, ladies, I'm going to come in very hot with this statement, okay? Your knight in shining armor isn't coming. And I'm going to look right at you and say it. Your knight in shining armor isn't coming. And my mom said that to me at like 12 years old. I mean, she was tough, guys. She was no bullshit. And I kind of saw early on, like, you got to figure this out for yourself, and you've got to figure out how to be happy. And once I was married, once I had kids, I got married at 34, had kids at 38 and 40. I mean, when I tell you I didn't want to get married, I really didn't want to have kids because of what I watched at home and what I experienced at home and what I felt growing up. I didn't want to replicate that. So I know for me, when I met John, I was kind of like freaking out because I was kind of like, I have this incredible guy, this incredible man, but I don't ever want to relive or become my mom. And I'll be honest with you guys, it is brutal to admit this. I literally became my mom. You know, you think you're so tough, you think you're so strong, and next thing you know, you have 2 kids under the age of 2. Yes, I'm the lunatic that at 38 years old had my first son, Sawyer, who is now 14. Then I went ahead 2 exact years later, had Finn, who, I know it's not Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, everybody. Okay, we'll deep dive into the names later. Okay, but it's from my favorite TV shows. Yes, from Lost and Glee. So we'll leave that there. But anyway, I had the kids, and let me tell you something. At 38 and 40, my 40th birthday, no, I was not dancing on tables in Cabo. No, I was not getting on a wet t-shirt contest. I was not like having the time of my life. I was at Mr. Chow's, like 9 months pregnant, literally sweating, and I was like, what the fuck have I done? I was like, the one who said she was never going to get married, I was going to be traveling the world, is now 40 years old, sitting at a table, can't eat, can't drink, and I'm fully pregnant with a 2-year-old at home. And I was like, okay, things have changed quite a bit. So literally, you guys, after I give birth, after I'm a mom to 2 small boys, I have 2 incredible boys. Let me tell you something, motherhood knocked me out of like knocked me right off my pedestal. Like, I thought I was hot shit. I thought I was so smart and in control and capable and tough. And let me tell you something, it rocks you. It does. And in the best way and in the hardest way. Because for me, being somebody who thought she was very independent and didn't like asking for help and didn't want to ever redo what my parents did, I was trying to break these generational vicious cycles, that all of a sudden it felt really scary and really overwhelming. And all of a sudden, no one's talking to you and no one's telling you, right? So all of a sudden you're feeling really fucking alone. Now you're having 2 kids, your husband's traveling all the time, he's working all the time, you're a hot mess, you're drenched in sweat. I'm now going through perimenopause, which is a doozy. And we're gonna have to dig very deep into menopause, because I think so many women have no understanding of what they're going through and no understanding of why they're going through it and why they're feeling that way. Like, I turned into the Hulk, and I'm not joking. Like, I turned green and I might as well have just ripped my shirt open because I was that angry and crazy. So imagine what I'm dealing with in my 40s, okay, where some people are like now, empty nesters living their best life. I am literally in the thick of it. I've got 2 small kids. My husband's working 24/7. He is not making the money that, I grew up definitely privileged. I grew up definitely, my parents always telling me I was going to be taken care of. My parents always telling me you were going to marry well. And I did. I married for love. And that is a story of us really having to come together as a team, start working. And I started to see what my mom was saying, that, yeah, it is hard when you can't just pay the bill, or you can't just have the nanny, or you can't just have the help you want. You start to build a little resentment. You do start to see how complicated marriage is and how complicated having children is and how complicated the sacrifice of the woman is. And I started to really deep diving into why are we sacrificing it all? Why is it always about us sacrificing it all? And I just remember looking at my husband sometimes and being like, John, I'd be like, he's drinking his coffee. He is somehow on the phone, somehow he was always like, I'm on a call, pointing to the phone. I was like, get the fuck off the call. I was like, guess what? My hair is sticking straight up. I haven't slept in literally 48 hours to 72. I was like, I have 2 kids on my hand. My mother's asking me for coffee. I haven't eaten or slept and have mastitis, okay? And I'm 60 pounds overweight. I was like, I don't know what you're doing, but this isn't going to work. So you guys, a very long story short, I was in the thick of it. I was really in the thick of it. I had turned into somebody that I didn't recognize. That is the truth. I kind of turned into who I thought I would never be. And it is so easy. And I think so many of us, that fear of becoming your mother, I think we all fear it at one point. And it's true. You do. You do what influences you, what you've seen, what's been around you does influence you. And I found myself not recognizing myself. I found myself constantly doing things that I didn't want to be doing. And I remember I felt like I needed to prove something to everyone else. I wanted to be the parents. I wanted to be the mom that my mom never was. I wanted to be the best mom ever. I wanted to live up to society's expectations of me. I had to live up to what all the other moms were doing too. Because, it's between Gymboree and my gym and this class and that class in the park. And I'm like, my mom didn't take me anywhere. So I was like, what? And all of a sudden it became this very we were all helicopter parents. And now all of a sudden the kids rule the household and you have to do everything 24 hours for your kid or you're a terrible mom. You know what I mean? And now you can't even say that it's hard. Now you can't even say you're depressed because then everybody's like, oh, it's postpartum, or oh my gosh, you're not happy, or maybe you're not happy. Or they see you recently got a comment saying that basically got ripped to shreds on Instagram, just being like, why you always complain. You're always complaining, but you have a husband who is nice to you, or you have a husband who does everything. And I was like, listen, my friend, I do everything. My husband is lucky to have me. I was like, who do you think is paying the fucking bills? I was like, are you joking that women still give the credit to the husband, or give the credit, I'm lucky to have a nice man? I was like, that's supposed to be a requirement. I don't know anyone who's marrying somebody who's not a good guy who wants to be there and help you. But let me tell you something, even the nicest of guys, right? You're caught up in keeping up with the Joneses. You're caught up in, you want the house, you want this, other people are moving on, moving up. You've got kids at home, you've got to pay. You're like, it starts to get hard. And the resentment does start. And you start looking around being like, I could do more. And like now I'm just sitting here like playing with toys and driving back and forth to school. And I remember feeling crazy. Like I just remember being like, there's got to be more than that, more to this. Like I'm smart, I'm capable. Like how is it that I'm just driving back and forth to school or volunteering? And I will admit I did go over the top with the volunteering. I was that mom that my mom didn't show up to anything. So I felt the need to show up to everything because I still will bring it up to her that she didn't show up when I was the lead of the play. So like I still, even in high school, like I still bring it up. So I felt the need to be like, I've got to be at everything. I need to show up to everything. I want to take them to everything because like my parents didn't do any of that. And I definitely pushed myself to really be over the top, like super mom. And I don't know if it's society. I don't know if it's watching other people. I don't know if it's our own pressures that we put on ourselves to live up to some sort of perfection, but we have stopped living up to like who we are as people and what actually makes us happy. And it feels like we're constantly trying to make everybody else happy. And it's become this thing of like us always sacrificing for everyone else but ourselves. And I started to notice this in the marriage where you're like two ships passing in the wind, right? Like he's working 24/7 and you're constantly at home with the kids. So for me, it started to take a toll. It really did. I started to just not feel like myself anymore, you guys. And I don't know if any of you guys have felt this way genuinely, but you can literally start walking past a mirror and not recognize yourself. And as you get older, and as life starts getting really real, because I think no one ever really tells you how hard life is, how hard marriage is, how hard kids are. Like everyone paints this beautiful picture. And again, you know, when you're pregnant, everyone loves you. You're gorgeous. You're perfect. The second the baby comes out, no one gives two shits about you. And now you have all the responsibility in the world. You feel your worst. And that's when no one's there for you. And that kind of feels like motherhood and marriage. It's like, everyone dangles the carrot and like, oh, the bridal shower, the bachelorette party, the big wedding, the hundreds and thousands of dollars you're spending and all the getting ready and dressed. And like, it all ends and you're like, wait, what? Like, what happened? So I think that's like, no one tells you what happens after. Now you're stuck with this person. Now you're living with this person for the rest of your life and supposed to be raising children with them. And you're like, I'm sorry, what? You're like, where's the party? Like, where's the party after the party? So I think that's something that really happens in marriage and in motherhood that I don't think we're ever really that prepared. And I don't think anyone actually tells you the truth. And I now had a different appreciation for my parents because I realized they had no fucking idea what they were doing. But I'll tell you something. When the phone rings, and this is where this story really comes up, guys, okay? This is where the hardcore, where did this really start for me? I just wanted to give you a little background on my upbringing because we did have a really interesting life. I do have immigrant parents. They're Cuban. You know, we only spoke Spanish at home. My dad worked his ass off. He made it happen. My mom was that typical stay-at-home mom who, you know, fought over every little thing. They fought over the credit card, the money. You know, he would be cheating, but she always stayed. And it was this very interesting dynamic that I was witnessing, and it was influencing me. And now I'm catching myself in a situation where I had been working, I had felt so independent, I had felt like I had it all figured out, and all of a sudden I'm catching myself not feeling like myself, not doing the things that I love to do, like sacrificing a little too much of myself. And then all of a sudden, like they say, the phone rings. Nobody ever tells you that the phone can ring and your life can completely change, right? I can't even tell you how many friends have, you know, you get a phone call that, God forbid, you have cancer, right? Changes your life forever. You're a child, something happened. Like there's those days that when I say live life to the fullest, and I have such a different understanding of what that means now, because, right? They say you realize you have one life when you start your second, like, or when you realize, right? Like your second life starts when you realize you only have one. And there's like, it's just that fascinating quote that always reminds me of that. Like we only have one shot at this. And why are we normalizing unhappiness? Why are we normalizing like us not taking care of ourselves? Why are we normalizing us like not being happy in our marriages or our homes or our kids? Like we kind of normalized misery and everybody hating each other and no one making an effort or doing anything. And I just remember when the phone rang and it was my turn, because we all will have that turn that the phone rings and changes your life Trust me, it's coming. And I think sometimes people don't realize, like when I talk about menopause or I talk about elderly parents and I talk about this stuff, especially on Instagram, people don't realize like it's coming for you too. Whether you're 19, 30, 40, 50, 60, like your parents are going to age, you are going to age, and you are going to go through all of this. And I'm telling you right now, I've been there, I've done it, and I'm on the other end. And I want to show you and help you how to get here. Because I can tell you right now, yes, we can take all the pills in the world, we can drink all the things that we want to drink, but at the end of the day, that reflection in the mirror, that is the only superhero coming to save you. Okay, so when you think that there's someone coming, when you think there's a knight in shining armor, like they tell you in these damn movies, they always assume that someone's going to knock on the door and hand you your best life, hand you your best husband, hand you your best features, your best clothes, your best wardrobe. And I honestly want to remind you every single Monday that no one is coming to save you. So this is really a podcast. I want to remind you to make sure I'm bringing back the best version of you every single day, because that's what's most important to me. So going back to that phone call, let me tell you something. That phone rings. I'm like already stressed, right? Like I'm already like, okay, I got the 2 kids, John's traveling, I'm freaking out. I answer the phone, already have some anxiety. I see it's my mom calling. I'm like, oh God, help me. Phone rings. You're like, you never know what it's right. When your parents get older, again, nobody prepares you for elderly parents and what that responsibility is. So when that phone rings, it always is stressful. It's always a little bit hard. She calls me screaming at the top of her lungs, hysterical crying that my dad has Alzheimer's, that they've lost all this money, that he hasn't paid taxes in 2 years, that she doesn't know where anything is. She doesn't know what to do. Who's going to take care of them? Who's going to do what? It's on you. You have to take care of us. It's your responsibility now. And I literally, like, if you could have seen my face, like, I think I was trembling. I was in shock. I think I was like, I don't even understand what you're saying to me. And I was like, I have 2 babies at home. I have a husband who's traveling. I live across the country. Dad has what? And you don't know where anything is? I was like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, you're 84 years, like she was like 82 at the time, 80, I don't know, it's probably 6 years ago. So what, 80, 79? And I'm like, Mom, I'm trying to understand. You've lived in this country for all of these years. I was like, so you're trying to tell me that you have no idea where the money is. You have no idea how to take care of yourself. You have no idea at 80 years old where anything is, and you had no idea what Dad was doing. I'm like, okay, hold on. I'm like, this is a serious issue. And then she's like, who's taking care of us? Who's doing this? I'm like, I don't know. I was like, all right, I need to call you back. Like, I just remember being like, I gotta get, give me a second. I have to figure this out. You guys legit hung up the phone, hands trembling, and I literally like walked past the mirror like that. Like, let's just say this is the mirror. I just remember like looking at myself and being like, who the fuck is that? Like, I was like, that can't be Caroline. I was like, wait. I was like, what happened to happy Caroline? I was like, where's the smiling Caroline? Where's the funny Caroline? Like, where's the positive Caroline? Like, where's the one that's dressed cute? Like, I'm not saying Valentino, but I'm saying like, I would look, I liked getting cute. I was a fashion girl. I'm a jewelry girl, okay? Like, I'm a makeup girl. I'm somebody who truly believes how you present yourself says something about you. I truly believe the people who surround you say something about you. I think your car says something about you. I think your home says something about you. Like, I genuinely do. And for me, I am not a chaotic person. I like being in control. I like feeling like I have power. I like being, feeling like I have a voice. And all of a sudden, I walked past the mirror and I was like, that hot mess is not going to work. And I just remember being like, that hot mess is not Caroline. I was like, that hot mess is not coming to save me. Because I was like, if that's the superhero, if that's the knight in shining armor that's coming to save me, like, I'm fucked. Like, holy shit. I was like, this is not going to work. So you guys, it was like a moment of, have you guys ever had those like aha moments? Those moments that you just for 1 second take a beat and like you're seeing yourself for the first time again. And I feel like a lot of you really probably understand this. Like, you just don't know where the years went. Like you don't know where the days went. Like you don't know where the hours went. And you just don't know where you went. And I just remember thinking, I know I'm not lost. Like I know I'm not gone. I know I'm in there. Like I know Caroline's in there. Yes, in third person, I was talking to myself. Okay, I was having a nervous breakdown. And I literally was like, I know she's in there. I was like, okay. I was like, fuck this. I was like, I'm bringing Caroline back. Literally. I was like, I'm bringing Caroline back if it's the last thing I do. I was like, since when am I not important too? I was like, since when is this not my life too? I was like, since when is me sacrificing everything 24/7? Wait, I was like, oh, like none of it made sense. I was kind of like, why did I stop living? Because I'm a mom? Because I'm a daughter? Because I'm a wife? Like my life ended because like, I was like literally to the point that I was like, when did I stop playing tennis? I love tennis. I was like, why didn't I go to lunch with my friend? Like I was kind of like, why did I stop doing all the things I love? Why did I stop wearing all the clothes I loved? Why did I stop wearing my jewelry? Like, where the fuck is my makeup and my hair done? Like, I was kind of like, where is Caroline? And I was like, and this doesn't feel good. I was like, I remember looking in the mirror and I was like, that just doesn't feel good. That version of me does not look or feel good. And let me tell you something, I was definitely crankier. I was definitely somebody who was shorter fuse, probably didn't react as well to things. Like I could probably, I'm sure John and I fought more. There was definitely more frustration, more resentment. I remember feeling very much like a caged animal a little bit, going from somebody who was like total freedom and thought I was out doing whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, to locked in a house 24/7. You can't leave. It takes forever to get the kids out of the house. You're sweating. You're like not sleeping. You're so exhausted. Your husband's traveling. There's just so much he can do. Your parents are living across the country. They don't help. I mean, you are kind of like, holy shit, this takes a toll. And I can't imagine it doesn't take a toll on all of us. Like literally all of us. And even my young ones. Let me tell you something. You're all rushing to the end. I see you. I see you. Everyone desperate to get married. Everyone desperate to have kids. And let me tell you something, guys. You're rushing to the hardest part of your life. I'm sitting here like, enjoy yourself. Like, go have fun. Go live. Go travel. Go become an interesting human being. Because let me tell you something. Marriage is hard. Having kids is hard. And it changes you. And you guys, when that phone call came in, and my mom told me that the responsibility was on me, and I walked past that mirror and I did not recognize myself, I literally made a commitment to myself that moment, that day. I looked in the mirror and I said, you are strong, you are capable, you are smart, and you can fucking do hard things. Let's go. When did you become this weak? When did you become like this? Like, this isn't you. And I'm not talking about reinvention, because I honestly think reinvention is just a tough word. I think reinvention really scares people. I think reinvention makes you feel like you have to do so much work to change. I realized, and I can't wait to share more every single week with you guys on all the steps that I took to bring back the best version of me, because I knew that she was in there. I knew she wasn't lost. I'd see glimpses of her, right? Don't we all have glimpses of ourselves, during the day, or in those moments that you look in the mirror and be like, oh, there she is. There's old Caroline, like not stressed out of her mind, exhausted, kind of crazy. You kind of realized, I know she's in there somewhere, and I'm going to start tapping back in. I'm going to start making a little time for myself. I was like, I'm going to talk to John. I was like, you know what? Marriage is supposed to be a partnership. Marriage is supposed to be a team. I was like, we're not supposed to be not helping each other. I'm pretty sure we're supposed to be helping each other. And I was like, if it's the last thing I do, that motherfucker's going to help me. Guess what? I was like, so you think I'm kidding, ladies? I walked into the room and my husband was like, wait, what? I was like, get it together, buddy. Yep, you're helping now. We're a team. I was like, mama's coming back. I was like, I'm bringing back the best version of me, and you're going to help me. And it's going to benefit you. Trust me in the end, because if you love me and you care about me, you should want to see me happy. And me walking around like a crank pants and a negative Nelly isn't really going to serve a purpose in our marriage or in our kids' lives or any, like my kids seeing me unhappy, I can't imagine that's what you really want for me. And I was like, I remember just looking at John and being like, I'm assuming it would be better for all of us if I'm happy. And we really had to have a heart to heart because he was somebody who always saying like, you're really smart, like you need to do something. And I remember used to taking it as a little bit of an insult or a little bit of, oh, can you not do it? Like feeling like, oh, he wanted me to help. Like I'd be like, I'm taking care of the kids and now you need me to help. Like, and I didn't really understand because I think I was in such a negative headspace because I was feeling so stressed and lost. Like I wasn't hearing, you're really smart and you're really capable. And if this isn't making you happy being home 24/7, you need to find something that does. And it's okay. And I'm here to support you. And I remember having best friends say to me, like, you got this, like, you've got to do something. Like, this is not the only thing. Like, and I remember just thinking about it over and over and over again, just being like, so what happens after the kids leave? What happens after the kids leave? Like, okay, so I'm a mom till 18. And yes, no one come at me. I know you're a mom forever. I know you're a mom forever. They will always come back. You hope so. But I'm the kind of mom who really hopes that I am raising two incredibly happy, independent young men who are going to go live their best lives. And I don't ever want to torment them or bog them down or ever feel sorry for me or feel like the need that they're responsible for me the way that I feel for my mom. I was my mom's, my mom has been my responsibility my whole life till this day. It is my job to make her happy. And I don't want my kids to ever have that burden. So I realized I've got to be happy too. I've got to figure out what it is that works for me. What are those things that I enjoy doing? What did I forget that I love to do? And it started as simple as playing tennis again. Literally, you guys, I remember that first conversation with John. It was that simple. I wasn't going to change everything, right? I wasn't going to be like dressed in Valentino tomorrow. Like, yes, of course, anyone looking at this, anyone listening to this, I want you to know nothing happens overnight. It doesn't. Life doesn't change overnight. It is consistency. It is routine. It is discipline. People forget your greatest flexes are discipline and routine. Okay? All that excitement, all that craziness, that's all great and that's all fun once in a while, but that's chaos. What you want in your life is consistency and persistence and literally never giving up and knowing that you're important too. And taking that time for yourself every single day is not selfish. I really want to remind every single woman of that. Anyone who makes you feel bad for wanting to take care of yourself, that's on them, okay? That's their fucking problem. You want to look like shit? Go ahead. You want to feel like shit? Good for you. Like, can't imagine that makes you feel good, but okay. And I can't imagine what you're doing when you walk out that door, to be honest with you. What kind of attitude you have? What, how are you treating people when you're in that headspace? So I started to put together, you guys, I honestly started to really think for myself, what can I do every day to start bringing back that best version of me, the one that's happy, the one that feels good, the one that's dressed, the one that has her makeup on, and not obnoxiously. I'm not telling you that, again, it's not head to toe Valentino. I'm in head to toe Amazon half the time. I'm in head to toe Target half the time. And yes, I like to mix and match. I like all my nice things, but I realize that none of that defines me. Me smiling defines me. Me feeling happy defines me. Me being a positive human being and helping and being kind is what defines me, not the stupid fucking label on my bag or my clothes. So I figured as long as I'm dressed and I look cute and I look in the mirror and it makes me feel good, I am telling you, you will walk out that door a different human being. And I'm saying that might not be day one, right? No, not even a pill, right? Not even an antidepressant pill works day one, right, guys? It takes time, it takes practice, it takes consistency, and you're worth it. And I want to remind you every day when you look in the mirror, what you see, that's going to make you feel some way. So I know for me, when I walk past that mirror and I don't recognize myself and I don't look like myself, and I just remember that goes into such a negative headspace. Like you start saying, oh, I got to diet, or God, fuck, why did I eat that last night? Or, oh, I look ugly, or, oh, I got to get my hair done. Like, it's amazing the negative shit you say to yourself, and imagine what that does to your self-esteem. What does that do to your worth? Like, what does that do to your insecurities, right? Because now you feel like shit. Imagine how much power you give away when you feel like shit and when you look like shit, right? Your husband starts to have a little more power. Your kids start to have a little more power because you start to feel more insecure, right? But when you look good, and I'm going to say this loud and clear, ladies, I want to make sure you're hearing this. Do me a favor, and this is going to be step one. Put your makeup on. Put on a really cute outfit that you feel fucking amazing in. Okay? I don't care if it's Amazon. I don't care if it's Target. I don't care if it's thrifted. I don't care if it's from Goodwill. I don't care if it's from your grandmother's closet. Grab whatever you can. Put on something fabulous. Put your makeup on. Even a little lipstick. I'm telling you, walk down the stairs. Literally just walk down the stairs with not a care in the world, looking absolutely fabulous. That's how you scare the shit out of your husband. You guys want to know how to get control back? Look fucking amazing every single day. It will scare the shit out of your husband and your kids because they're going to be like, where the fuck is she going? Like, oh my God, who are you seeing? What are you doing? When you look like shit and walk down the stairs, guess what? Nobody pays attention to you. No one's worried about where mom's going. No one cares. No one's asking you if you're okay. Everyone assumes you feel like shit because you look like shit. So no one, you know what I mean? But when you look good, I'm gonna promise you, everyone in your household is gonna ask you where you're going. Everyone's going to ask you what's going on with you. I mean, literally. So I started to kind of catch this, you guys. I started putting it together, and this really all began. My entire platform on social media literally began me trying to bring back the best version of me. And I realized that my happiness was just as important as my husband's. And I realized that my happiness was just as important as my kids. And I realized my happiness was just as important as fucking everybody else's. And I was like, and I don't remember when it was okay or when I thought it was like I had to give up my whole life and my dreams and my goals just because I'm a mom or just because I'm a wife. It's like, I have dreams, I have goals, I'm smart, I'm capable. And what happens when my kids leave at 18? I've got 40 years to go, 30, 40, 50, 60, if I'm lucky. What am I doing with that? And to me, I don't want to be shopping and eating lunch and talking shit about people. I'll be honest with you guys. I want to be collaborating. I want to be growing. I want to be evolving. I want to be traveling. I want to be having fun. I want to be looking, feeling, and doing my absolute fucking best. That is my greatest dream. That is my greatest goal. And I hope I can honestly do that for you, because I can tell you right now, there are a lot of women that are not necessarily rock bottom and not necessarily torpedo of happiness up your ass. There's a midway in there, right? Where it isn't all the fucking most amazing and it isn't rock bottom. There's a gray area, and I want to really discuss that. I really want to get into that. I honestly, you guys, I want to bring back the best version of us. That is my greatest dream and my greatest goal. And I hope that this podcast literally can help you realize how important you are and that you put your oxygen mask on first, okay? Plane is going down. Your oxygen mask goes on first, then you save everyone else. So that's what this is about, you guys. At the end of the day, I'm going to be coming in hot, telling you the truth, honestly, about menopause, about marriage, about financials, about elderly parents, about the second half, about friendship, about women. Because you know what? I've seen it all. I've been through it all. And I'm here to tell you the truth, the brutal truth. That's why I'm coming in hot. You know what I mean? That's where we got the name from. Anyway, long story short, I brought myself back to life, you guys, and I have never, ever felt better. I can honestly say, and this is not to be a diva, this is not to sound like a bitch or to, I'm sick of us not being able to like compliment ourselves. Like, I'm so tired that we all relate on, tearing each other down, or you have to dumb down, or you have to you're embarrassed to say you're happy. Or like, if I say John and I are happily married, everyone's like, okay, yeah. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, all right. No one believes you. We've made happiness not normal. And so it honestly sounds like we can't talk about being happy. And I want to bring that back. I want to bring happy back. I want to bring happy moms back, happy women back. I want to remind young girls that you have your entire life in front of you. And I want to give you all the tips in the world of dating, marriage, not rushing to anything, and living your absolute best life, because I genuinely believe women are so smart, so powerful, so capable. And when we come together and we actually rise together and help each other and actually talk and be open, it is incredible what could come of it. So I'm really hoping that you join me every single week And I hope that I can just enlighten you, motivate you, inspire you. I am so honored to have you here with me. I just know that bringing back the best version of you will be the greatest gift you ever give yourself. Bye-bye.